Hi everyone, DJ here. Welcome to Best of the Worst Showcat Builds in LEGO Worlds Part 28. Overlap part of Best of the Worst Showcat Builds in LEGO Worlds. I have shown was we're the 19th wall. Let me say, I think it's the 19th wall west, I believe. I gotta really check these by the way, because most of all, some of these Showcat builds I can't mostly remember of. Yeah, the 19th wall west. Then we have the ancient arch, the 19th wall north, and the ancient triple arch. If you guys haven't seen mostly all of these Shokai builds, that mostly all these Shokai builds I have pretty much shown over the last part of part 27. May go check that part before this one. But today we have some Shokai builds that pretty much mostly all of them are turning by the way, and ones that hasn't been seen in like pretty much like, well actually not just ones, but mostly all of them have been seen since like mostly since Showcat builds actually, especially mostly from Next Night Showcat builds. And it's pretty much one of the most Showcat builds I have been showing since pretty much around mostly like the year, especially from over like the beginning of Showcat builds in 2021. So I can't wait to show these Showcat builds in today's best of the worst Showcat builds in LEGO Worlds. So I'll wait no time as always. Let's get into this. And also, guys, before I do start, well, if you guys haven't checked with the recent Minecraft poll, which is pretty much today, may go check that poll out before this one. And today's poll we have for Minecraft is, what is your favorite animal in Minecraft? So the favorite animals I put was the pig, the wolf, the sheep, and the cow. And I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised when you guys picked the sheep because most of all, I don't really mostly talk about the sheep, or probably mostly bought the sheep at all. By the way, I only need like sheep from like mostly like their food and mostly their wool because most of all, I need to make a bed to pretty much like survive the whole entire like night, especially like sleep through the night. But I thought people were gonna pick the wolf by the way, because most of all, like I think like wolves are probably like, the most ever animal to pretty much like have in Minecraft. But most of all, you can pretty much tame them by the way, because some animals you can tame with by the way, but they always just follow you by the way. So I wouldn't say that's pretty much really a good tame to pretty much have an animal with by the way. But if you guys like sheep as well, that's pretty much fine with me by the way. But I'm just saying that pretty much like wolf is probably maybe like the best answer that one could pretty much pick. But still, I like sheep as well. So let's go ahead and start showing the Showcat build. So the first Showcat build I'm showing is pretty much another Next on Night Showcat build. And I'm not gonna lie, this is like mostly like I forgot that he was in this Showcat build by the way. And that is the 19th wall entrance. Now, if y'all wondering what type of Lego Next Night character this one is, well, it's pretty much the character that's pretty much I can call him like the Prince Charming actually. And I want to know where he is because I know he's around here actually. I think he's down here actually. There he is. Wait. Yeah, there he is. I know he was right here. Yeah, so this is Lance M1. I made him pretty much an OC of him pretty much not too long ago by the way. Well, pretty much around like last year or 2024. So that pretty much was just just a longer time ago now actually, but even though I'd say it was not too long ago. But yeah, this is pretty much Lance. I completely forgot he was in this Showcat build by the way, but what you see in this Showcat build, there's kind of a little bit backwards because I forgot how most of like the entrance, or should I say the ninth and wall Showcat build was supposed to look like. But this one is pretty much cool. It's pretty much just like the same one except like it's the entrance one, so which is pretty much nice. So what you have here is pretty much his hover horse. This is the one he used in pretty much in the show, which I'm not gonna lie, it does pretty much look cool. One of the OCs of pretty much like Lee and Selena City have this vehicle, but I'm not entirely sure who it was because there is a lot of OC that has a lot of world by the way, and I mean really, it has a lot of worlds. But this one's a cool vehicle though. I really like it by the way. I do love how they made like a hover like horse, so which is pretty much cool. But I don't really ride these mostly often by the way. There's like one of those vehicles you never see me mostly use at all by the way. But they are pretty much fast and pretty much good to pretty much use to pretty much to ride around pretty much like any LEGO world, so which is pretty much nice to see. Then if we go right here, like up here, where I just pretty much just like got on, we have mostly his shield. Now I'm not entirely sure what his shield is pretty much like for his Lego supposed to be. It looks like mostly a hold on. The first person is gonna be kind of a little bit interesting to pretty much see for this flag. So we have is pretty much mostly like a I guess it's a Lego minifigure that's pretty much like Dizzy. So which is pretty much interesting. And then you got his lance right there because I know his name is pretty much Lance. And pretty much with his shield as well. So which is pretty much nice. I can tell you what, this Showcat build is pretty much cool. But it's pretty just like the other, like, mostly the 19th wall, like, Shellcat build. So it's not really, like, mostly new to Shellcat build, by the way. Because, let me mind you, this Shellcat build was shown back around, like, 2022. About 3 years now. So that is kind of crazy, actually. Because Season 5, or should I say Shellcat builds, ended, like, around 2022. That's literally 3 years ago when I finished showing, like, mostly the last Shellcat builds of Shellcat builds, known as Season 5 of Nexo Knight Shellcat builds. But it's good to see the Shellcat build back in 2025. So 19 wall entrance. I can pretty much say you're pretty much the best Shellcat build. Pretty much for like mostly like today. So welcome back in 2025. Alright, the next Shellcat build is pretty much another 19 wall Shellcat build. But I almost got really confused of like which one it was, by the way, because they all have like most like the same 19 wall, by the way, especially from like the last word, and that is the 19 wall east. Now this one belongs to Clay, not K, Clay, because most of all, Clay is for the main protagonist, which he is the main protagonist of Lego Nexo Knight. I gotta remember if he was, by the way, and he's just chilling right here, pretty much in like. Just right here in this beautiful light blue neon, I guess you can say mostly bridge, so which is pretty much nice to see. Also, he does have a vehicle as well, which I don't remember what it's called actually. It's called a Nexo Cannon. So I actually never used it before actually. Hold on, let's go ahead and test it out somewhere. Let's go over here, because I've never even tested it out before, by the way. So this is how it pretty much drives, by the way, which is pretty much nice. Then if I shoot it, so I want to see how it shoots. Oh, that is interesting. Shooting like some firecrackers. That is nice, actually. That is cool. I've never even seen that, by the way. I thought it was just mostly like part of his vehicle, by the way, which it is part of like the Shellcat build, but like it's kind of interesting. They gave a cannon to like Clay and stuff, mostly like a, like a cool bike, just like Macy, like Thundergate, I believe it was called, if I remember. But still, it's cool to see this Shellcat build again, by the way, especially like from over like 3 years later, by the way. And also his shield and sword as well, which I think he does have a sword. I believe that his shield icon is pretty much a gorilla, which is pretty much interesting. I do like it had that, by the way, a gorilla or a monkey, so that's pretty much interesting. Then we have his beautiful, nice looking sword right here with his gorilla or monkey shield, so that is pretty much cool. So as I'm saying this again, it's good to see the Shellcat build pretty much in Best of the Worst Shellcat build, and also back in 2025. So 19th Wall East, welcome back in 2025, or should I say you're pretty much the best one right here. So welcome back. Alright, the next Shellcat build is one of the Shellcat builds that I do remember, but I completely forgot this even existed. It is also another Nexo Knight Shellcat build, and that is the 19 gate piece closed. Now this one right here, I don't know if it's like mostly much as shown as I remember, because I remember exploring over here, by the way, and I think it's just pretty much just like a gate closing, pretty much sure. Yeah, that's literally what it is. There's no Lego character in this one, by the way. No Axel not part of this one, or any of the Lego Nexo Knight characters, so that's kind of very interesting. But I do like the design of this Shellcat build, by the way. It looks pretty much nice, just like the other 19 Shellcat builds. And that's pretty much it. That's really it for the whole Shellcat build, by the way. So this is like the first time ever they give a Shellcat build, especially from a Lego Nexo Knight Shellcat build, to be short. So that is very interesting. But it's good to pretty much see it again in 2025. So 19 gate piece closed. Welcome, or should I say, you're pretty much the best. So yeah, welcome back in 2025. It's gonna get used to pretty much saying welcome and pretty much like best of the whole entire time, by the way. But we have is the last Shellcat build for today, and it's one of the Shellcat builds that I haven't seen in a very, very, very long time, actually. And it's one of the Shellcat that pretty much the Battle Godness is pretty much in, and that is the Ancient Temple Part 1. Now, if anyone doesn't remember this, I think this Shellcat build was shown, I believe, in Special Shellcat build, I'm pretty much sure, and Selena City. So this Shellcat build hasn't been shown mostly like in 3 years. So, well, sorry, 4 to 3 years, and it's one of the most like coolest Shellcat builds I've shown in pretty much in Lego World actually. Oh no, sorry, it was a special Shellcat build. I think it's from whatever season it was, by the way. But this is one of the most interesting Shellcat builds I have shown from over like around like 4 years ago, by the way. And this is pretty much the Battle Gondas right here. This is what you pretty much see. You probably had to do a crest with her, and then you pretty much just unlock the character. So which is pretty much nice. I do like the design of the Battle Gondas, by the way, because this is really a very good, like, this is probably one of the most like beautiful designs for a Lego female, so which is pretty much nice to see. And also the Shellcat build itself, I do like it how it's pretty like an actual ancient temple, which is like mostly like messed up, but also cool at the same time. I wouldn't say that this is probably like one of the most very best Shellcat build, even though it does look cool. I will have to say this: the Shellcat build itself is not much to show. It's just a big tired ancient temple, which is cool, but there ain't that much like cool stuff inside of it, by the way. For example, I mean, I think that's a broken, yeah, that's a crashed Roman chariot, which is like desert ruin stuff, and that's really it. That's really it. Oh, hold on, sorry, and also the stone launcher, which I forgot what there as well. So that's interesting. So this is like one of the most Shellcat builds that haven't been talked about in like for a very long time, but it's good to see it pretty much again after pretty much those 4 or 3 years later from mostly like Shellcat builds and now to this year of 2025. So which is great. So Ancient Temple Part 1, you're pretty much not gonna say you're like the mostly ever best Shellcat build, but you're just the best. So just the best I'll long give you. So which is pretty much great. But yeah, but well everyone, I'm gonna go ahead and end off right here. If y'all enjoyed, sure I know what to do. So I'll see y'all tomorrow afternoon in the next video. Bye.